Hey there, Internet peeps, it's your good buddy Rue, here to talk about comic books. Sorry I missed last week's. Well, I'll be honest, there was just nothing that inspired me to want to talk about comic books last week, so I didn't waste my time or yours. One other thing before we get started, seriously, and I mean it this week, there are spoilers, especially for X-Force number 26, so if you don't want that book ruined for you that moment, wait until you read it to come back over here. Fair warning, don't come yelling at the Rue. Let's get started. Hulk Out Heroes, number 2 of 2. Okay, here is the story that's going on in this book. A hulked out version of Deadpool is traveling through time in order to kill Deadpool so he can't become a mercenary. There you go. If that does not sound like fun, don't buy this book. If it does sound like fun, it really was. I had a blast reading these two issues. We all knew what was going to happen. I'm sorry, Deadpool gets a time machine. Of course he's going to fuck everything up. Let's not even lie. Read it, don't read it. If you don't like Deadpool, if you don't like what's going on in Hulk right now, and if somehow, even though Jeff Parker wrote this, you feel like being mad at Jeff Loeb, don't read this book. But I had a great time reading it. I know a couple other people who did. I know the internet's going to hate it, because right now the internet hates anything that says Deadpool, Hulk, or they can even pretend is either Loeb or Bendis' fault, and to a lesser extent, Jeff Johns. I enjoyed it, but I performed the greatest internet sin of all time. I like things. So, buy it, don't buy it, but don't come yelling at me if you did. You're like, I don't like Deadpool. Why did you tell me to buy it? I didn't. If you don't like Deadpool, if you don't like Hulk, if you don't like Jeff Loeb, if you don't like Parker, whatever, don't buy this book. If you like fun, give it a shot. Invincible Iron Man, number 25. So I recently started reading Iron Man, and I never cared about him, but I thought that issue 24 was pretty cool. Issue 25 puts me right back to square one, and I'm back to not caring about Iron Man. For a jumping on point that comes on right before Iron Man 2 comes out, right the same week as Free Comic Book Day, and right into Heroic Age, all this issue is a retelling of the first Iron Man movie. A remorseful Tony Stark comes back from a traumatic event and stops making weapons. And then so somebody else uses Stark technology to build weapons. I'm sorry, wash, rinse, repeat. It's the same damn thing as the movie. I'm out again. Also, the whole Thor scene was complete bullshit. And it was not satisfying at all, but it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to read any follow-ups. I don't like Iron Man, and this book really did sell that on me. If you like Fraction, if you like Iron Man, I hope that you continue to enjoy this comic book. I'm done. Thunderbolts number 143. I am not really a big fan of Jeff Parker's run on Thunderbolts. I found it incredibly boring and lame, but the Siege tie-ins, here we go, have actually been pretty cool. This has been one of the better ones. This issue right here serves as a great jumping off point. If you're done with Thunderbolts, if you need to cut a pull list or whatever, and you're not really caring about the Thunderbolts and Heroic Age with Luke Cage and all them, this is a great way to tie up all your little loose ends. I'm an addict. I have every single issue of Thunderbolts all the way back to the Fabian and Krapusik run and floppies, so I'm going to keep going. I just hope that Parker decides to stop trying to be Ellis and be Jeff Parker. Write a fun book. We don't need you to keep writing a dark comic book that, I'm sorry, again, except for these Siege issues, I don't think he's been succeeding. Thor, on the other hand, 609, might have been my second favorite comic book of the week and maybe of April, the entire month. This was just a great, great comic. Emotional, relevant, and the art is just beautiful. Balder, I don't know how to pronounce it, finally standing up and being like, look, I'm the king, and you people came with gods. And it was just one of my favorite moments. Very good book. Very good book. Highly recommend. If you're looking for a tie-in, if you're enjoying Siege and you don't read Thor, these are some good, fun tie-ins to bring it all in and make the bigger picture. And here we go with the major spoiler thing that I want to talk about. X-Force number 26. Second Coming, I've enjoyed this so much. And this issue is no exception at all to Second Coming as a storytelling vehicle. And before we get to what happened, I have to focus on the art here. This is just some great, gorgeous art. I'm sorry. There's been issues of X-Force where I thought the art was too dark, and I meant that like I actually couldn't see detail. It was not bright enough. But there have been other instances like this week where the art is just perfect, and I've already seen previews for next week's Uncanny. Don't let that book's art ruin Second Coming for you. This art is how you want to remember Second Coming, not the crap fest that Uncanny's become, especially in the art department. Now, I've never been the world's biggest fan of Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner, or whatever. I know lots of people who loved him to death. I liked him. I just didn't really honestly care one way or the other. That being said, the way this has been built up to throughout Second Coming really was very well done. Great build up, hit me emotionally. And I know I'm not the only one who thought Cable was going to be the victim in this issue. But this was just very good, very well done. I know it was foreshadowed, blah, blah, blah. I didn't say I was shocked by the death. I said it hit me emotionally. And I don't know if this makes any sense, and I know that it's the major complaint about Hawkeye's death and way back in Avengers Disassembled. This is a good death. I'm sorry. This is how Nightcrawler, I think, would have wanted to go out. My only complaint about this entire issue is I really wish that Wolverine saying elf was the last word, was the last panel of this comic. And we can see Bastion being either built back up earlier or in the next comic book. But if the purpose of telling a story is for your readers to get emotionally attached to characters, Kyle and Yost, and this is not the first time, but Kyle and Yost again show that they are a great pair of storytellers. And this is this is the comic book of the week. I loved it. I know it made me sad, but at the same time, if you can get anybody emotionally attached that much to be sad when a fictional character dies, in my opinion, you did your job, and you did your job very well. Codebreakers, #1. I know this came out a couple weeks ago, but I wasn't able to get a hand on it until this past Wednesday, and I want to read issue 2 right now. This is not going to change storytelling comic books as we know it. It's not the world's greatest comic book, but it was a fun, interesting read. And if you're sick and tired of tights, if you want something that's not magic or sci-fi, it might be a little bit sci-fi, but I consider it more spy drama. If you're just looking for something that's not superheroes, this is a #1. This is a #1 issue. Boom seems to be really good about keeping this stuff in stock. If your store doesn't have any, ask them to order you #1. This was a good comic, a good way to just. I had a really. I'm sorry. I don't know how. I keep stuttering for no reason. Buy this book, enjoy it, have fun. And finally, and I just want to harp on this. Green Hornet #3, this book continues to just impress me. Great art, good story. I'm sorry, I know that it's moving a bit slow, but not as slow as Irredeemable, not as slow as Incorruptible. I'm really enjoying this book. Ignore the other, I've flipped through and read quite a few of the other spin-offs just so I could see which one I needed to get. Ignore the rest of them. Kevin Smith's Green Hornet, this is the main book, this is the book you should be focusing on, and it is telling a wonderful story. So that's it. That's all the comics I read this week. Seriously, if you haven't yet, I hope your stores can keep you some comic books from Free Comic Book Day. There's a Stuff of Legend one that was just wonderful, and that trade came out. I've met the background artist, and he is a great guy. Pick up Stuff of Legend. Volume 2 starts in July. Pre-order it. That's me shilling because it's a wonderful book. Other than that, have fun. I need some more Ask Rue questions because I'm bored, or I'll just start making them up again. Whatever. And that's it. Later, people.